welcome to episode 3 of the Wanderers of Weird podcast. Today I want to start the first of probably an ongoing series where I want to talk about like Appalachian folklore and all that, because it just fascinates me.
Accurate.
Samesies. So I'll be talking about the art of divination and how it has set roots in not only Appalachian culture, but could possibly have roots firmly planted in your own everyday life, and you're not even aware of it. My sources for this episode is the book titled Appalachian Folklore, Omens, Signs, and Superstitions by Nancy Richmond and Misty Walkup. And I also used the U.S. Geographical Survey government website for this episode. So, when you think of divination, what do you think of?
A ritual. I think of, like, just a whole big ritual, which I know is not completely accurate, but that's what I think of. I think of the ritual that's taking place to get yourself in a better spot.
Yeah. The Oxford Dictionary defines divination as the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means. So I would include like tarot card reading in that, or scrying, probably. I've had my cards read, but I've never read cards.
We'll get into tarot at a later time too.
Yeah.
We might have a little surprise up our sleeve for you guys with that.
First, I'm going to dive into the history of divining rods. So, I've always known them as dowsing rods. And it is a forked tree branch used for dowsing, which is a means of finding underground water. So, I remember being a little kid, and my grandfather, who... he worked part-time for the railroad. He, grew up right next to the railroad tracks.
She just used my leg as a slide. Sorry, guys. I got distracted. There was a cat.
But I remember him telling me about finding water underground with these two metal rods and how if they crossed, we'd found water. He tested it out by starting at one end of the yard and taking it all the way to the spigot at the other end of the yard. I had no idea that this was a folk method of finding underground water until recently, and this is why I wanted to start here, because whether or not we know it, things like this are pretty common, in just our everyday lives, and we just don't really think about it being folklore. The USGS.gov website says water dowsing refers in general to the practice of using a forked stick, rod, pendulum, or similar device to locate underground water, minerals, or other hidden or lost substances, and has been a subject of discussion and controversy for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. Although tools and methods vary widely, most dowsers, also called diviners or water witches, probably still use the traditional forked stick, which may come from a variety of trees, including the willow, peach, and witch hazel trees. Other dowsers may use keys, wire coat hangers, pliers, wire rods, pendulums, or various kinds of elaborate boxes and electrical instruments. In the classic method of using a forked stick, one fork is held in each hand with the palms upward. The bottom or butt end of the Y is pointed skyward at an angle of about 45 degrees. The dowser then walks back and forth over the area to be tested. When he or she passes over a water source, the butt end of the stick is supposed to rotate or be attracted downward. Water dowsers practice mainly in rural or suburban communities where residents are uncertain as to how to locate the best and cheapest supply of groundwater. So, like, the drilling of wells. And for instance, the drilling a well is very expensive. And homeowners are generally, understandably, reluctant to gamble on a dry hole. And they end up turning to a dowser for advice on finding water.
There's a "that's what she said" joke in there somewhere.
I don't know where.
The dry hole.
Oh, that's what she said. All right. Another form of Appalachian divination is knife divination. The rest of these I have never heard of in my whole life. So knife divination, according to the book Appalachian Folklore, is used to find a lost article. The individual stood in the middle of his home, placed a knife on a flat surface, and spun it. The direction in which the edge of the blade pointed when it stopped spinning indicated where the article could be found. The Appalachian people also use this method of divination in matters of love.
Spin the bottle.
Exactly. The names of potential suitors were written on pieces of paper and arranged in a circle. The knife was placed in the center and spun. The name closest to the tip of the knife would surely become the bow of the spinner. And this form of divination is also a very early form of the game Spin the Bottle. Another form of divination is needles and pins, which I was very confused by at first until I read a little bit more. Our source says, to divine whether a future event would be good or bad, 13 pins coated with oil were placed into a small bowl filled with spring water. If any of the pins crossed, the event would go badly. Another common divination method was used to determine the sex of an unborn baby. This involved threading a needle with red thread and suspending it over the womb of a pregnant woman, and if the needle rotated in a clockwise motion, the baby was a boy, and if it rotated counterclockwise, it was a girl.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. I've heard of, like, other similar, I definitely remember something similar being, something that my mom had said, she did, and have most definitely heard other women and seen videos of other women trying, like, old folklore ways of determining the sex of a baby without an ultrasound, which I don't think are ever really accurate.
The alternative method's not the ultrasound.
Exactly. Ultrasounds are pretty accurate.
We're not doctors.
Right, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not gonna... Alright. And then the last one that I have is wind divination. I didn't know, never heard of it. Learning to foretell the weather by observing wind patterns was a complicated and involved process, and generally it was an educated person in the Appalachian village who would perform this task. Wind divination was actually the precursor of modern weather forecasting. The individual kept a daily journal recording what kind of day it was and from which direction the wind was blowing. Eventually, a pattern emerged, and a prediction could be made. And honestly, this just gives me I smell rain vibes that we're just known for.
I mean, listen, though. If you don't know what she's talking about, being able to smell rain, I don't know if it's a southern thing.
I think it is.
But 100%, I can walk outside and just for pre-COVID, because I've had COVID and it messed up my sniffer for real. Pre-COVID, I could walk outside and tell you it was going to rain the next day because you can smell it in the air.
There's just something about the air that I'm just like, it's going to rain.
But that makes sense. I mean, really paying attention to the wind and the patterns. And I mean, you walk outside, it's pretty gusty out there. It might storm.
Right. It's like, I think it was windy yesterday.
Yeah.
It's been windy, crazy windy today.
It's blown my Halloween decorations all over the yard.
Yeah.
All over the yard. Broken a few of them. Yes, my Halloween decorations are still up.
I don't.
Well, by the time this gets aired, probably not. But
yeah. But my Halloween decorations stay up inside.
Well, I said my outside ones. My inside
I have
ones
outside ones. Actually, that's not true. I do have 2 outside ones, and they stay up year round. But I want my neighbors to know that I'm weird and to not come anywhere near me. But that's all I have on this particular topic for this week.
All right, then. I'm just going to talk about, maybe some tools, some herbs, some crystals. No, I don't think I have any crystals. Maybe, possibly. Sources that I have for this one. Earth Magick, spelled, the magic portion of it spelled magick.com. Also, specifically, and I mentioned this in our previous episode, the Witch Bitch Amateur Hour podcast, episode 37. I got some good information for that to help us with this. With divination, as she mentioned, there's tools that you use. Be it pendulum, tarot, or oracle cards, wooden runes. That's something I'd really like to look into and learn about, is runes.
Yeah.
You always want to cleanse your tools before you go to work with them.
Right.
We talked about that in a previous episode. Sage, water, whatever your choice, your preference is there for cleansing. Copal is like a resin from a copal tree. You can use it in incense. This helps bad energies, bad things turn good. Takes the bad, makes it good. It's a light, maybe piney like scent. Earthy, woody.
I like a good earthy and woody scent.
I'm not big on like a piney scent. I can tolerate it.
I like a Fraser fir scent.
I like it.
Christmas tree.
Yeah, I like a good Christmas tree scent. We don't get to use real Christmas trees in my house because my husband's allergic.
I think they're messy.
Well, I grew up, my parents always had real Christmas trees. My mom was dead set until I think the past couple years that you got to have a real tree. And I think my dad finally.
Real tree anymore?
No, I think I'm almost positive last year, maybe the year before, my dad finally talked her into having a fake tree.
I don't know why, but I am devastated by this information.
But, you won't see me buying, pine-scented candles or anything like that. But I do enjoy, somewhat of an earthy smell. Like a sage, I feel like that's a very earthy smell, a very nice smell. The sage candles that you've bought me in the past have been very, very, very used.
Yeah, I'm on my second one.
Yeah. But anyway, with this copal, with that earthiness, it's used in earth magic associated with the sun. In case you didn't know, the sun is a very masculine energy.
I did not.
I didn't know that.
Sense,
it does. It makes sense. It goes with the element of fire. Obviously, the sun's a big burning ball.
Right.
It can also be used to bring forth love. So, I mean, like I said in the previous episode, spicy, earthy kind of things bring forth love. Dandelions. Did you know that dandelions are not just weeds that you find on your ground? They're very useful.
That is something very new to me. I've seen people, cooking and deep frying them.
Yep.
Eating
I've
them.
done it. They're not awful.
Making tea with them.
Yep.
But
you gotta watch out. Disclaimer. Eating too much of them make you shit your pants.
Oh no.
It'll upset your belly. Don't need no help with that. But yeah, you can use it as a tea. You basically just make sure that there's not been any pesticides used on it, obviously. Yeah. But you harvest them. Remove the stems and leaves. You just want the flower portions of them. Put them in a strainer. Rinse them off really well. Loosen up the yellow petals. Put it in your cup if you're using it as a tea. You can add any other herbs that you like to go in your tea. Mint, stuff like that, you know. Put some, pour some boiling water over it and let it steep for 5 to 10 minutes. And then, you can strain out the bits and pieces or whatever and then drink it. It's pretty good. Add your sweeteners and stuff in there because we're from the South.
Everything's got to be sweet.
There's
unsweet tea is just sacrilegious around here.
Listen.
You ever been up north?
Yeah.
Not even that.
Not even that.
You can get it is McDonald's.
We went, when I was younger, to New Orleans, and we drove there.
Mm-hmm.
On the way to New Orleans, I want to say, and I could be wrong, that it was in Mississippi. We stopped and they didn't have sweet tea.
That's awful.
So it's not just a specific southern thing. It might just be an area thing.
That's weird. And anytime I've gone to, a restaurant, in, Illinois, for example, can I get a sweet tea? We can get you an iced tea and some sugar packets. Absolutely not.
That's not the same thing.
Bring me a Diet Pepsi.
I don't know if they still do it. There's a restaurant here in Nashville called Demos, or Demos's, however you would like to say it.
The Italian restaurant?
I think it's an Italian. It's been years since I've been.
Demos, yeah.
I've heard people call it Demos. I grew up, my parents always called it Demos's. I don't know. Different strokes, different folks. Potato.
So. Yeah.
But the last time I went there, I remember specifically I asked for sweet tea and she said, honey, we don't have that here. Disgusting. But they have a simple syrup, a sugary syrup on the table that you pour in there, which was a little bit better than just straight up sugar packets.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds doable. I would do that.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, this back to the dandelions. Dandelions are said to kind of boost your psychic powers and your intuition. Kind of help you see things that you might not otherwise see.
Mm-hmm.
In the same family, and I would like to do an episode with this thing as a topic, in the same family as chicory. Dandelions are in the same family as chicory.
Okay.
That's a big thing that they add to coffee, like in New Orleans.
Yeah, I've ordered some of the Cafe Du Monde K-Cups with chicory. I was very taken aback by the woody.
It's very, and it's kind of bitter.
Yeah, it is bitter, and it's very, as soon as my partner is brewing a cup of it, I can smell it.
Right.
I'm like, that's the chicory one, isn't it? And he goes, yep.
Absolutely. But that makes me think, it opens up your psychic ability. It makes you more able, more receptive to seeing things that might not everyone else see, or things that you might not normally pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings me to New Orleans is said to be one of the most haunted cities in the States, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so chicory's a thing there, and not necessarily a thing here.
Yeah, because I had never heard of it
Conspiracy.
before. Is that why?
Maybe.
Oh my
Maybe
gosh.
they're just more receptive to seeing the ghosties, and we just don't see them here.
I could see that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could get behind that idea.
I've always wondered.
I've always wanted to go to New Orleans. I've never been.
I've been once. I was 15 or 16.
See, the only thing is, though, is I've heard it kind of smells like piss down
there.
there.
Yeah, I've heard it's nasty.
And I'm just
I don't remember a whole lot about it. I know that I went with my parents. We were going on a cruise that was porting out of New Orleans, and I was 15 or 16. I was with my parents and my sister, and we got to spend all of one day there. So I really didn't get to experience New Orleans in the way that one would like to experience. I'm going to tell you right now, don't ever ask me to go to Mardi Gras because that's going to be an instant no. Which I know you
Yeah.
won't go either, but
I
that's
would,
way
yeah.
too many people,
That's
way
a
too
lot.
much.
Yeah. I'd rather go in, like, the off-season. It'd be like going to Salem during Halloween.
Right.
I don't want to do that.
No.
I want to go during fall because it just seems so gorgeous.
Right. When we went, we did do a cemetery tour, and that was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
We did see a naked guy standing on a balcony while we were waiting with our tour guide to get ready to walk away. It was fantastic. And apparently that's a normal thing there because the tour guide didn't even turn around and he said, "Is there a naked guy standing up there?" And everybody's like, "Yeah," and he was like, "I figured." But it was a good time from what I do remember being there. My husband and I were set to go. Was it 2020?
I was gonna say it was right when COVID happened.
Yeah, we had planned to go. I think it was like late March, early April, something like that, and COVID happened, and we ended up having to cancel our trip. I was really upset about it. And we haven't gone yet. We haven't decided to try that again. We've gone on other trips, but New Orleans has not been the destination. But yeah, I'm interested to know. That might be something that we can talk about a little bit later on.
Yeah, I've definitely, in planning the future of this podcast, I've already bought, tons of books that are sitting behind me currently for research or ideas or what have you.
But no, yeah, getting back to with the divination, the dandelion, chicory, things like that. What you're really trying to do is to open you up to the idea of receiving that information, to, seeing what you need to see and what your idea is. So, with the water dowsing, what you researched did not necessarily say that you need to do these things, but it might be helpful.
Yeah.
To incorporate some of that with it so that you're more receptive, or if you're trying to find love or whatever have you,
right.
And it's all simple things the earth provides itself.
Yeah. And as an earth sign, I greatly appreciate that.
What am I? Not an earth sign? I'm not a water sign. Am I a water sign?
I don't know what you are.
I'm a freaking goat is what I am. I'm a goat. Greatest of all time. I don't know what I'm the greatest at. But it's but yeah, I think that divination is definitely something that I'd like to look into a lot more. I have a deck.
It is funny because the Capricorn is symbolized by the sea goat.
The sea goat?
The sea goat.
So I'm a water sign?
I think so.
Oh, well that does make sense because I do love the ocean.
Oh, it's an earth sign. It's an earth sign.
Earth sign?
Yeah.
I like the water though. I do love a good beach.
Yeah,
and as I've stated previously, the sea turtle is my spirit animal.
Yeah.
But no, I've got a set of tarot cards. You got me that deck of cards.
Yes.
For Christmas?
Yes, because it was the Nightmare Before Christmas ones,
yes. Right? And I have used them several times. I've not done readings for other people because I'm not comfortable with it. And that's not really something that I want to delve that far into. But I've done readings for myself a couple times, and I'm learning. I've learned that with tarot cards, it's more of a what do the cards want to help me understand, and not so much of a foretelling the future situation. Literally any draw that I could pick could give me any help with any situation. It's just giving you a basic idea of some good advice, things to look out for.
Yeah.
Later on in our shows, we may introduce you to someone down the road that is near and dear to my heart who does tarot. She does her own little thing.
Yeah, I recently had a reading, and stuff that she mentioned during that reading, I'm only now, it's been a week now. I'm only now being like, you know what? That definitely makes sense. Because she said something about me being defensive, and then yesterday I was like, I am super defensive. Why am I defensive? I'm so upset.
As your best friend of 20 plus years, you have your moments.
I do have my moments. I don't know why, but here we are.
Because you're a Virgo.
It's because I'm a Virgo.
I'm a Virgo. But she's really good at what she does. She has a little bit of a following. She's done a couple live events, in-person events. She's gotten amazing feedback. I'm definitely going to give her amazing feedback because she literally is on hand for me anytime that I need her. Because I am so blessed to be able to call that person my sister. So we share DNA. Yeah. Which makes her pretty awesome because anybody who shares DNA with me is A-okay.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. I really like her. And I feel I'm not the type of person that just, like, will sit down and talk to somebody that I'm not... Like, I've known her for years, but she's not somebody that I've sat down and had a bunch of conversations with. And, like, I'm comfortable enough to do that. Right. And to delve into something that's entirely different than what I've ever done with somebody else.
And she's also the type that, you know, sorry if she hurt your feelings, but she's going to shoot it with you straight. Yeah. And that's the type of person we like being around.
Right. I don't want somebody that's going to feed me bullshit.
Oh, bingo. And that is definitely not her. She's a Leo. She's a hardcore Leo. Yeah. But she's pretty legit, and I am excited to maybe one day get to bring her on the show with you guys and let you guys get to know her and let her give y'all the opportunity to go check her out. But yeah, I think that's all I've got.
That's all I've got.
You've got a sleeping cat next to you.
I do, and she's very cute.
She was over here in my lap a minute ago, but she's forsaken me.
She has drooped off of my lap and is just next to me, and she's like pinned between my leg and the chair.
I don't think she cares.
Oh, she is the most comfortable she's ever been in her whole life.
She is cute.
She is precious.
You have very people-y cats, though.
I do. It's weird, especially that black one. She
is
something. She's
not a witch, but she has a black cat that is 100% her cat.
Yeah, that's
her familiar, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I've got, guys. We appreciate you guys coming to listen to us, taking some time to get to know us, and we hope that you're enjoying your time here.
Right.
As always, if you guys have any suggestions or questions or anything, hit us up at wanderersofweird@gmail.com.
We're on the Twitter, the Facebook.
Probably the Instagram. We're getting the Instagram up and going.
Yeah.
I got the Facebook up and going way before I should have, and we've already got views, and there's nothing on it. But hey, by the time you guys hear this, there'll be stuff on it.
Right, and our logo's on it, which I'm very proud of.
She and her partner designed our logo. And we are currently wearing t-shirts donning this logo.
Yeah. Maybe one day that'll be something that'll be available to listeners if anybody's interested in that.
Absolutely.
I love mine.
I'm waiting to get one for every day of the week because I've had this shirt all of a week today and I've worn it 3 times already.
Hoodies.
Oh, I can't wait.
And because I also do embroidery at work, I want to stitch this logo onto something.
Beanies.
So, if it'll work, they kind of stretch. If anybody if you need embroidery advice, just hit us up in our email.
Right. We got you, or she's got you. I don't know anything about it. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, any questions, anything you guys would like to know about, let us know. We'll be more than happy to look it over. Yeah. We appreciate you guys coming. And again, we hope that you guys are enjoying the shit show that we call Weird. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right. We'll see you next time.